So hello guys, yesterday classes we were discussing about the introductions to a Spark, right? This topic, Spark topic, and that we discussed that how this Spark emerged. Okay, so first in 2009 there was a project which is called as AMPL project, AMPL lab projects. Okay. So it is a kind of research project which is doing by R&D department, and they are need of cluster managers. So they need what? They need of cluster managers. So they want cluster managers. So so here what happened? Yarn, because if you see Yarn came in 2012 only. So they need some cluster managers to manage the resources, all these things. Okay, so in that time they had developed a project which is called as Mesos, which you already know about the Mesos. So to test the Mesos, they developed a Spark. So a Spark is being developed in 2009 by Metia Jaharia. So he is a person who has developed these Sparks in 2009, and this Spark is developed only to test the performance of the Mesos, right? Because Mesos is what? Mesos is a cluster manager, just like a Yarn. Just like Yarn we discussed. And also we discussed in the last classes that the MapReduce performance is decreased. The performance of MapReduce is decreasing compared to what? Compared to the Spark. And why the performance of MapReduce is decreased? We know the solution for, the problem for that. The problem is that here in the MapReduce operations, lot of input output processing is taking place. That's why the MapReduce performance is getting decreased. Okay, so to overcome this problem, you are going for the Spark, because Spark is having the fast processing techniques. It will process the data at very high speed rate. Okay, now in Sparks what we discuss, right? Already I given some real-time scenarios yesterday classes that how Sparks are working and how Spark is faster than the MapReduce operations. Okay, for timing let me review once again for you. Suppose if I am taking any text file, right? Just you take any text file, whatever you want, right? So I am taking any text file, okay? And my text file is like that. So suppose I have the number, say 314. I have numbers say 9. I have 7. You have, okay? Suppose I am taking this one. I am taking another number. Suppose I have 315. I am having suppose 8. I am having 4. I am having. Suppose other numbers I am taking is 319. So I am having 1. This is only for an example for you. This is only a use case I am taking for you, and this is one file we have, right? Now what we did is that just we divide this file into how much MB? 384 MB we have. It means I can go for totally 3 blocks, right? Because each blocks will have 128 MB. So this block I am going to call as block B1, and this block I am going to call as block B2, and this block I am going to call as block B3. Block B3. Now we just imagine that this data is stored in SDFS. SDFS means what? Hadoop distributed file system. So if you see the SDFS, we have 2 important nodes as there for SDFS. One is going to call as what node? One is going to call as the name node. It is going to call as nothing but a name node, and other is going to call as what node? You are going to call as the data nodes, like this. You have the data nodes, right? You have the data nodes, right? So now this block will be initially where it will be in the data node. Say I can call as data node 1, I can call as data node 2, right? I can call as data node 3. So this we have 3 data nodes are there. Now I am going to place this block in data node 1. So I am going to place this block in data node 1, that's B1, and I am going to place them into the call as B2, and then I am going to place them into the block B3. So this data is scattered into 3 different machines. So one machines we have D1, so DN2 and DN3, because it's a cluster. It is clustering, right? Because we have using different types of machines. So all data are distributed in different machines. Now here we have to improve the performance of the fast processing in the case of a Spark. Then how Sparks are doing very fast processing here. So we written a small code for your understanding that. So suppose if I'm writing the code like this, right? I'm taking one RDD. I'm taking the RDD is called as a number, okay? I'm taking this RDD is going to call as number 1, okay? And I'm taking I'm using a Spark context. Suppose X st, then I'm using the text file, and my file name is, suppose my file name is bignan.txt is my file name. It is my what? It is my file name. Okay. Now what these steps are going to perform? If you write this code, what is the meaning of RDD? Already we discussed. This RDD means what? Try to understand the meaning of RDD here. This RDD means, this R indicates resilient. Is going to call as what? It is called as resilient. Resilient. This D indicates distributed. It's going to call as what? It is going to call as distributed, right? This indicate distributed, and this indicate what? It is going to call as a data sets. This call as data sets. This is the abbreviation of RD: resilient, distributed, and data sets. You may ask question about what is resilient. Resilient means the fault tolerance, or it is called as reliable, right? It is very reliable. Data cannot be lost. We can recover data very easily. That's why it's going to call it resilient. Distributed means what? Your data is distributed across multiple machines. So we have a machines, and in that machines your data is distributed across the multiple machine. It's going to work in a distributed environment. Then we have data set. It means your actual data is going to call as the data sets we have. So because of this three nature, is going to call as RDD. Okay, so you're going to see how fault tolerance is going to occur and how it's going to be distributed in data sets, all these things. So now we have these statements are given. Now RDD means what is going to happen. This RDD is nothing but it's just like a local variables, or you can call as a pointer. Sometimes you can call as a pointer, sometimes you can call as a local variables. So it's going to call as RDD, right? So now see, here is called as a Spark context. This SC indicate a Spark context. What is the meaning of a Spark context? This Spark context is nothing but it is entry point of your Spark program. So supposing just like a Java, if writing a main program, right? So it's going to the main program is the entry point. Similarly, for the Spark, which is entry point, this entry point is going to call as a Spark context, and this Spark context is always on the master node. It will be always on the master node because it's running in the driver. A driver is always in the master node. So this Spark context way it will be in the driver only. That's what it's going to call as Spark context. And here. And you have text. This text file is nothing but it is API in a Spark. Okay, and what says a Spark text file will do that it is going to read your text, which is text from the location, the by default location, and this text means we have a block in 3 different machines, isn't it? Because suppose this file is going to call as what file name? It is called as bignan.txt. It is my what? It is my file name. What file? It is my file name. So here what we are doing is that you are just this text file to search the this given file from the locations, and it will load into the main memory. It means when you're going to fire these statements, when you're going to hit this statement, what is going to happen? Whatever the block I stored here, your block is here. Now initially where is the block? The block is in hard disk. It means this block is in hard disk. Okay, this block is in hard disk. Okay, this block is in hard disk. This is not where they are in hard disk only. It means Sparks are going to use both hard disk and memory. Keep it in mind. The Sparks use hard disk and memory too. So initially when you're going to keep the block, we are going to place these blocks only into this hard disk called as B1, called as B2 and B3. So when you're going to hit this line, what happens is that this block B1, this block B2 and this block B3 is what is copied to main memory. Is going to copy into the main memory. Say main memory, it means now this block B1 is where? B1 is in main memory. Say B2, this B2 is in main memory, and this B3 what? The B3 is also in main memory. It means that the block is being copied from hard disk to your main memory. Now this block is copied to this main memory, this block is copied to this memory, and this block is copied to the main memory, and you can say collectively block B1, block B2 and block B3, I can collectively what I am going to call as RDD. I am going to call as RDD. Yes or no? Now block B1, block B2 and block B3 I am going to call as RDD. Why I am going to call as RDD? Because this block B1, this block B2 plus B3 are distributed in nature. They are distributed across different multiple machines. That's why reason I can call as distributed, and it is a data, right? It is a block B1, block B2, block B3 what we have in data, and it is also resilient. I will tell what about the resilience here. So what happened? This block is copied to memory, this block is copied to this memory, this block is copied to this memory. Up to this clear? Now this combined, if you combine this B1, B2, B3 which is there in the main memory, that is going to call as RDD. So what you understand from this observation, that RDD means the data is stored only in the memory. Okay, we are not going to have a data in hard disks at the time of RDD. RDD will represent data in memory. RDD always represent data in main memory. So this data is where it is in main memory, and I can call as RDD. And what is name of the RDD I am given? The name of the RDD is what? Number 1. Number 1 is what? It is the name of the RDD. So I can call as, this is what RDD, number 1 is what? Is my name of the RDD. Is my name of the RDD. Right. Now I am going to perform some kind of transformations. Some kind of transformations I want to perform. Okay, what is mean by transformation? They're going to see in the next step. Suppose now I am going to create another RDD. I am going to create another RDD called as filter 1 RDD. Now to create this filter 1 RDD, I am going to perform transformation on the existing RDD. What is existing RDD? We have number 1. So on number 1 I am going to perform some kind of transformations to get the new RDD. So whenever you are performing some of the transformations into existing RDD, we are going to generate the new RDD. So whenever you want to generate new RDD, we need to have a transformations on the existing RDD. We can apply transformation on the existing RDD to get the new RDD only. Okay, so what I am going to do here. Now what is my existing RDD is given here? Number 1. So I am going to perform some kind of transformation here. So I am going to write here, okay, I am going to write here number 1 is my existing RDD dot, I am going to use some of the transformation functions. I can call as what? I am going to call as the map, okay, and I am going to write some logic inside this map. I am going to write some logic. Suppose what I am logic I written? Logic means logic to get the values, to get the key values, okay, what to get the key values, right? So to get the key values I am going to write so I am logic it to get what? To get the key values less than 10. Okay, this is my logic I am written. So what is my logic I written here is that we have number 1 is a call existing RDD, and I'm writing some of the logic to perform transformations. So for transformations I am writing map logic. So this is called as a logic, okay, and this logic is going to be fired on every onto this block B1, because B1 it is there in the main memory, and B2 is also there in main memory, and B3 also there in main memory. So this is called as what? RDD. So this logic should be applied to the block B1 which is residing in main memory. This logic is applied to the block B2 which is residing in main memory, and this logic is going to apply into B3 which is residing into the memory. So this logic generally it is going to call as what? Task. So it is going to call as the task. So whatever logic you are going to apply for the transformation, that is going to call as task. Okay, so here in Spark it is going to call as what? It is going to call as task. Okay, so you are going to perform some of the task on the B1. Task means nothing but it is transformation on the existing RDD. So we can perform some of the tasks on the existing RDD. So what we are generally going to do here is that we are going to place a transformation on the existing block, which is reside in the main memory. That's very important point for you, because RDD always store data in main memory, nothing else. That is meaning of the RDD. So what we do is that I am doing some transformation and applying on the B1. So when I am going to apply on the B1, this logic which is taken care by map functions. Map functions are going to take care of this logic, right? So when I am going to apply this logic on B1, what result I am going to obtain? First B1, if I am applying this logic of transformation, then I am going to obtain the value which is less than 10. Then which is less than 10 here? Of course 9 and 7 is going to less than 10, and this I am going to call as block B3. Block B3 for time being. And I am going to apply logic on B2. What I am going to get result here? I am going to get 84, and I am going to call as what? I am going to call as logic call as B4, and I am going to apply here. I am going to obtain. I am going to obtain 1 and 2. I am going to call as what? The logic B5. Now here I obtain B3, B4 and B5. This B3, B4 and B5 also where it is also in main memory. So here when I am applying the logic on B1, I am getting B3, right? When I am applying logic on B2, I am getting what? I am getting B4. when I apply logic on B3, I'm getting what? I'm getting one B5. It means that the B3, B4, B5 also reside in the main memory. So if you collect B3, B4, B5, B3, B4, B5, this is called as one RDD, new RDD. And this RDD is, what is the name of this RDD? This RDD name is what? Filter 1. What RDD it is going to call as what? It is going to call as the filter 1 RDD. So here, if you want to create a RDD, we can create using existing RDD by applying a transformations. So when you do a transformations, we are going to get the new RDD. So here, what is the new RDD you got? The filter 1. Okay, and filter 1 obtained from where? Filter 1 obtained from number. And number 1 obtained from where? Number 1 obtained from the text file. Okay, so in this way, now here, now this is, we got 2 RDD, right? You got 2 RDD. Now I can say that it is distributed. Am I right? Why? Because it is distributed. We are distributing the block across the different multiple machine, that is data machine. Am I right? Next, it is a data set. Fine. What about the resilient? What is the resilient? Fault tolerance. Fault tolerance means since I can achieve the fault tolerance by using replication, by using duplication of the data, that is going to call it replication, or I can achieve the fault tolerance by using replication factor. Okay, suppose for instance, if I am saying replication factor is 1, okay, suppose what is the replication factor? Your replication factor is 1. Suppose if I am telling, what does it mean? It means that I am going to copy the same data across other machine, across other data node machine. That is meaning of replication factor 1. If I say replication factor 2, what does it mean? It means that I am going to copy the same data across 2 multiple machines, into 2 different machines. Okay, suppose if you take replication factor 3, what does it mean? I am going to copy the same data 3 times. Same data 3 times across the multiple machines. So I am going to copy data how much time? 1 time same data. Here what I am doing? I am going to copy the data how much time? 2 times across other machines. What does it mean? 3 means I am going to copy the same data 3 times across other multiple machines. So in that way you are going to achieve the replication. So here in Hadoop, the default replication factor is what? The default replication factor is only 3. It means by default you are going to have only 3 replication factors. Okay, now here suppose you have the block B1, B2, B3, how you can achieve replication, how you can achieve reliability, how you can achieve fault tolerance. Suppose if I am going to copy the block B3 in block B2, for example, B3 is here, I am copying the data of B2 in block, say in this machine, D1 machine, I am going to copy in B2. Okay, so B2 data is copied in which machine? D1 machine. B3 data is also copied in which machine? Suppose DN2 machine. Now in DN3 machine, suppose this data node 3 machine, I am going to copy what data? Suppose B1. Now if you do replication 1, I did how much replication? Only 1 time I did. It means the same data I am going to copy in other machine only 1 time. So if you do like this, you will achieve the fault tolerance. Of course we achieve the fault tolerance. How? Now suppose if this data node 3 is getting crushed, it got failures. Failure means what? We lose the data. If lose data means everything is gone, everything is out, we cannot do other processing, everything is gone, right? You become 0. So how to recover it? We have to recover it by from other machine, because the data of B1 is what? Yeah, if B3 is crashed, you can recover data from where? You can recover data from the other machine, called what machine? DN2 machines. Okay, so here recovery will possible. So you should not worry about the data recovery. So if you keep replication 1, it means you are providing some more data security, little bit data security. If you keep replication factor 3, you are providing more data security. If you keep replication factor 5, oh my god, you are giving a lot of high security of data. Okay, it means you are giving a lot of high security of data. It means providing a lot of fault tolerance. So because of this, it is going to call as what? Resilient. It is called as what? Resilient. Resilient means what? It is have the nature of the fault tolerance. It is nature of the fault recovery. Right? It is very reliable. Because of this nature, it is going to call as what? It is going to call as RDD. RDD. Now let me ask one question to you here. If you see this question here, okay, now you see this code which I written here. What code I written here is that I written this code s.txt file, that beginner.txt RD1. What does it mean? This filter, right? If you see the filter F1, this filter F1 depends on what? It depends on this filter. What happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on this filter, it depends on what? It depends on this filter, what happens? This filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it depends on what? It depends on, okay, this filter, what happens? This filter, it dep These filters I can call as filter, right? Filter 1 I can call as F1, right? This F1 depends on what? Depends on number 1, right? Depends on number 1. I can call as number 1. What I am going to call as what? I am going to call as number 1. Okay. Now this number 1 is what? Is depend what? Is depend on what? This number 1 depends on what? It depends on what? It depends on, I can call as number 1 depends on what? Depends on, you can call as bignan.txt. Okay, it depends on bignan.txt, which is the file which reside into the hard disk. It means this RDD, which is filter 1 RDD, is having depends on number. This number 1 RDD, which is a number 1 RDD, it depends on the file. Okay, it means the following information is like this. It is having dependency graph. It represents a dependency graph. It represents step by steps. Okay, F1 depends on number 1 depends on bignan.txt. So this follow of steps can be represented by using DAG, which is called as directed acyclic graph. What is going to call as? It is called as directed acyclic graph. What graph? Directed acyclic graph. This directed acyclic graph will give you proper representation how the steps are, which steps you have to follow first, which steps you have to follow second, which steps you have to follow third. And this is also called as what? Lineage. It is also called as what? Lineage. What is going to call as what? Lineage. Okay, so this every steps what? Every steps being represented by what? By the directed acyclic graphs. Okay, directed acyclic graphs will give you the proper steps, which steps will execute first, which steps are going to execute next, and so on and so forth. Okay, and this is going to call as what? The lineage. Okay, now our question is that do you feel that this Spark is having high performance compared to MapReduce? Of course. Why? Because when you are going to apply the transformations, you are going to get the results only on memory. It means here no need of going to involve a lot of input-output operation. Input-output operations are very much minimized in case of the Sparks, because here we are using only one time input-output operations. Okay, and initially you are going to use input operation, but after that every operation is happening in the main memory. You are going to get the result from the main memory and everything is fine. That's why the Spark is having the high speed processing power. It's very high speed processing power compared to the MapReduce. MapReduce use lot of input output operation for that. Okay, that's the reason where the Spark is play important roles for the fast processing of your data. Now let me ask difference, right? If you understand about that, what is difference between the Spark, right? If you take the Spark, right? If you take the Spark, little difference versus Hadoop, or versus Hadoop, you can say. What is main difference here, right? What is main difference here? See here, one thing very much clear, that the Spark is basically used for what? It is used for the real-time processing, right? Clear? The Spark used for what? It is used for the real-time processing. You can call as real-time processing. Real-time processing, you use a Spark. That's why the Sparks are very famous in health sector, in banking sectors, okay, in stock markets, government sectors. They use a Spark for the fast processing. So it processes what? It processes real-time processing also. And of course the Spark can also use for batch processing, but mostly they use what? A Spark for the real-time processing. And Hadoop, what? The Hadoop's used for what? It is used for Hadoop's what? Hadoop's used for batch processing. If you want to use for the batch processing, you can go for the Hadoop. The Hadoop used for the batch processing. And you know that Hadoop's is batch processing means what? You are going to process data on the historical data, right? If you have historical data, we can process on that. That's called as what processing? It is called as batch processing. And real-time processing means what? You are processing on the current data. That's called what processing? It is being called as a real-time processing. Now, second thing, you try to understand that a Spark can accept a lot of variety of data, right? You can give data in the forms of structures, in the forms of structured data, in the forms of unstructured data, in the forms of semi-structured data, the Sparks will welcome. The Sparks welcome all variety of data. Same thing happening in Hadoop also. The Hadoop also welcome all kind of data. Okay, but coming to the processing speed, which is having the higher processing speed? Of course, Spark is what? Spark is having the fast processing speed. What compared to the Hadoops, right? The Hadoop is having the less processing speed because MapReduce is what? MapReduce is slower than the Sparks. Okay, and if you see in case of programming, this Spark is ease of programming. It's very easy for programming, right? Very easy for programming in case of Spark, in case of Spark, but in case of Hadoop, it's very complicated programming, because if you want to write MapReduce program, you have to write number of lines of codes, right? You have to write number of lines of code, and then you have to create jar file and do a lot of stuff. So it is very complicated programming because Java is involved. In case of Spark, it is somewhat easy programming. You can easily optimize the code, right? If you want to write a MapReduce program for finding word of count, you may write 100 lines, but you can finish with a Spark only with 4 lines or 5 lines. You can finish the same code. So it's easy for programming. Okay, and here so you can say one thing is that it is used for real-time processing. Hadoop is used for batch processing, Spark for fast processing, Hadoop is not for fast processing, it is used for programming, and these are the basic difference you can have for Spark versus the Hadoop, right? So this is what we have came to one point that the Spark is become very famous. The reason is that we have two basic reasons, you can say. One reason is that it support real-time environment, it support real-time processing. Second is what? It is very fast processing, okay? And in 2014, the Sparks become the top level project in Apache in February 2014, and because they have contributed Spark in 2013 and 2014 has become a very top level projects in Apache. So this is what about the basic introductions about the Spark. Now we are going to see details information about the Sparks one by one with your presentations. Now if you understand the introduction to a Spark, you can use a Sparks because of two important things. One is it is very high fast processing. Why is high fast processing? Because Sparks need minimum input output operations. That's one thing. That's why it is having the very high fast processing. What about MapReduce? MapReduce having the low processing speed. Why? The reason is that it involves lot of input output operations. Okay, that's why the MapReduce the performance is somewhat decreased. Okay, so now here what is going to happening in the case of the Spark here. Now already we discussed in our last sessions that why we need a Spark. That's important point, right? Everybody is one crazy thing is that the data is generating everywhere you find the data, right? If you find the data from the Facebook, from the Twitters, and from the different place you are finding the data, right? This is a statistical report given about data generated in every second. Just imagine for every second how many data are generated. Text sent, text sent for every second is how much? 18.1 billions. By using mobile, by using WhatsApp, right? You are sending a lot of text messages. Text message, what kind of data? It is unstructured data. See how much YouTube, 4.5 billion videos views in every second. This much data is being generated. You see about application download, how much applications you are downloading. You see scrolling Instagram, okay, 3,47,200 Instagrams is scrolling every seconds, okay. You see people tweeting at 7,500 people tweeting in every second. If you see the scenario, you feel that the data are generating at very high speed. Exponentially the data are getting generated. Okay, see here 2.1 million snaps created every time. How much people are spent online transactions, right? You see how Netflix, how many people are watching videos in hours, right? This much hours are they going to write 6,94,444 hours they are using Netflix video for watch. So by using this statistics, what you understand that data are generating exponentially very high speeds. So if you want to analyze the data, we need some kind of programming framework where you can process this data at very high speed. And if you do the help of MapReduce, of course MapReduce is going to support processing, but it was little bit slow compared to the Spark. And Spark is having the high speed capability compared to the MapReduce. Okay, so nowadays most of the companies, they are crazy about the Sparks. They want to learn this Spark, they want to adopt the technology of the Spark, because the Spark is doing the works in very high stature and they're generating the data very at high speed rates, right? That's why the people are much crazy about the Sparks, where the data is getting generated, so we want to process them fast, you want to get the outcome immediately, and sometimes you go for real-time processing. Now for already I told about credit card transaction. I want to know the status whether the transaction is genuine or not genuine. The transaction is fraudulent or transaction is not fraudulent. I want to know the status. For that, what I can do, I can use for the real-time processing, right? I can go for the real-time processing of the data. That's why here the Sparks become very much crazy, and everybody's are going to adopt the new technology going to call as Spark programming. Now here we are going to see about this Sparks. Already discussed evolution of the Apache Sparks. So when the Sparks came to the world in the year of 2009 in Berkeley University, they are doing some research project which is called as AMP lab. Which lab is going to call as? It's going to call as what lab is going to call as AMP lab. So this is what is going to call as AMP lab they are doing, and this Spark is being developed by Mathieu Jaharia. He is the person who developed this Sparks, and in 2014 the Sparks become the top level Apache projects, because in 2030 it has donated to the Apache Software Foundation, and by 2014 it's become one of the top level projects in the Apache, because the Spark is an open platform. You can download the Spark, you can use it for the fast processing, you can use for the real-time processing. And here, what is a Sparks? How we can define the Sparks, right? See, the Spark is a light fast cluster computing technology, right? It's very faster cluster technology because it's going to process the data at very high speeds, right? So that's why it's very fast, lighter technology going to call it Sparks. And it is based on Hadoop, MapReduce, and it's extend the MapReduce model to efficiency. You see that by using a Sparks, you're not going to replace the MapReduce. Of course, you are going to do for the extension of the MapReduce. The Spark is nothing but it is extension of the MapReduce, because it will increase the capability of processing power. The processing speed will be increased by using what? By using the Sparks only. And here the main feature Spark is in memory clusters. That's what important thing. So I want to understand, and you have to understand the main feature of a Spark is its memory cluster. It means that when you are creating the RDD, which is called the religion distributed data set, so what you are doing, we are moving the data from hard disk to memory. So in memory, what happens in memory, all the processing are taking place, right? All the transformations, everything is happening inside the main memory only. That's why the speed of this Spark is phenomenal. It's a very phenomenal speed, very high speeds you can call it, because everything is happening inside the main memory. And if you're going to do transformation inside the main memory, if you're going to do everything is main, what happens? The speed is generally going to become very fast. So it is a in-memory processing. Sometimes you can call as what? The Spark is going to be called as in-memory processing. And here that's why the speed is what? The speed is at very high speeds you are going to obtain from the Spark. The Sparks will give you high speed processing of data. Now here a little bit again I want to give you a small focus about this Hadoop versus Spark. If you see this, this is the structure of the Hadoop using MapReduce. Hadoop is meant for batch processing of data. What is batch processing? Already told. We are going to collect the data, and after collection, what are you doing? You are going to process them. So I can collect data in day 1 and I can process them into day 2. That is going to call as what? Batch processing. You see here in batch processing what is happening using MapReduce. We are taking data in day 1, and this same data what I am doing, I am processing in day 2. I am taking data in day 2 and I am processing in day 3. I am taking data in day 3, what I am processing in day 4. It means I am processing data on the historical data. The historical data is getting processed using what? MapReduce. If you do that, what is the drawback you have? Time lagging, right? Because I cannot do in real time, right? So I'm taking the data on historical data I'm taking, and on that I'm doing some kind of computationals. So this is the called as batch processing in using MapReduce. So MapReduce is meant for the batch processing only. That's why here Hadoop process data store of a period of time. So we can keep data for 1 day, or if you want you keep data for 2 days, 3 days or 4 days, and later on you can process them. That is called as batch processing technology. So this Hadoop is meant for only for batch processing. It is not used for the real-time processing, because it will process data only on the historical data we have. Now coming to the next, if you see these slides, you will understand clearly about the real-time processing. What you doing in real-time processing? See, you are taking data on day 1, and you are processing on the same day without any delay. So I am taking data on what? I am taking data on day 1, and I am processing on the same day. I am taking data on day 2, and what I am doing here? I am processing on the same day. Now I am taking data on day 3, and what I am doing? I am processing on the same day. I am taking data on D4, and what I am doing? I am processing on the same day. It means that I am processing the data on current data. I am processing immediately. Immediate processing is done by using what? By using the Spark. The Sparks will provide the facilities to process the data immediately in real time. That's why it has become very famous in banking sectors, right? Banking people are using Sparks to know about the customer's behavior, customer perspective, customers transaction. They are monitoring everything using what? The Spark. By using the Spark, which is used for the real-time processing. It is also used in a medical field, right? It is also used in stock markets. Okay, how the stock markets goes up and down, and if you want to predict the futures, in futures what will be the stock market, whether the stock markets will going to up or it will going to be down. So all kind of predictions you can do using what? Using the Spark processing. So Spark processing is meant for real-time processing. That's why it's become very famous, right? So here there is no time lag, right? There is no time lag. Immediately you are going to get the results, immediately you are going to get data, and immediately you are going to get results. So processing will done immediately. That is going to call as what? It is going to call as the real-time processing in Spark. Now you see here, if you see the next slides, this is what you understand about this diagram, right? It's very interesting diagram. You will come to know about these things. Nowadays you can say before 10 years ago there is no such technologies are there. If there is no technology, what you require? We need more human power to do the work, right? You do works, you need more human power. Because of technology, what happens? You need less human being, because all this work of human being is occupied by the machine. Well, the machines are doing the work of all the human beings. So when technology grows, the human requirement is also getting less, isn't it? Because 100 works can be done by a single machine. 100 workers work can be done by a single machine. Okay, the same things are going to apply here also. The same logic going to apply here also. In 2014 and 2013, the Hadoop MapReduce came to market in 2004 to 2013, and it was become very famous because Hadoops are used to store huge amount of data, and by using SDFS, it used to process huge amount of data by using MapReduce. So processing and storing can be done take care by the Hadoop environment in Hadoop clusters from 2004 to 2013, right? After that, in 2007 and 2015, different tools came to the market, which were installed on the top of the Hadoop. You can install and you can use it. Okay, so some of the different tools that came to the market 2007 2014, like graph, okay, which is used to represent data in the forms of graphical representation. Then Mayhout came, which used to machine learning algorithm, okay, to implement machine learning algorithm like supervised learning, unsupervised learning. They use Mayhout tools, and like they have Impala, they came, which is also SQL interface tools. We have GraphLab came to provide visualizations in the forms of graphical representations. A lot of tools came to market in the year of 2007 and 2015. Now the question is that if you want to know about machine learning algorithm, you must learn this tool thoroughly, Mayhout. So if you want to learn this tool MAOT, then you become expert in machine learning algorithm. You know how to execute machine learning algorithm, because machine learning algorithms need a lot of iteration, right? In iteration means what? You need to iterate until you're going to get the actual results, desired results. So the machine learning algorithms are going to use different types of iterations used in machine learning algorithms. So for that you need to learn MAOT, and then you can work on machine learning algorithm. Similarly, if you want to know about Tej, okay, Tej, to speed up MapReduce, you need to understand the Tej tools. So here, if you want to learn this tool, you have to learn independently, and then you can work out. Right? So it will take time to learn this kind of this much of technology. Now in 2007-2015, the people are struggling. If you want to use machine learning algorithm, we have to learn MAOT. If you want to do SQL interface queries, you have to use Impala, and you have to do all kind of stuff. Tools are available. My question is that I want to learn only one framework. In that framework, I can complete all the tasks which can be completed by all these tools. Okay, it means here what happens is that after that you are going to get what? After 2015 2014 we are going to have Spark. The important feature of Spark is that if you know the Spark, we can work with all kind of tools. The Sparks alone can do the work of all these tools. Just imagine, the Spark alone can perform all the works which can be done all the tools. So whatever tools are there here, all the operation of this tool alone can be done by a Spark. Just imagine. It means that I can say that here this Sparks will provide you a huge replacement, right? So if you learn the Sparks, no need of learning all kind of tools. So by using a Sparks, we can perform machine learning algorithm. By using a Spark, you can perform SQL queries. By using a Spark, you can perform all storming operation, live streaming operation, all kind of works you can done only by using only one Spark. So that's a big relief for the people, isn't it? See, I don't need to learn lot of tools that give me burden for me, right? My capacity is not to learn all the tools at one time. It is not possible. So I want to learn only one tool, and that tool will provide me all facilities. I can run machine learning algorithm, I can run all SQL queries, everything I can done by using a Spark. So this Sparks will give you a replacement of all kind of tools. So by using a Sparks, we can perform all the operations which can be performed earlier by using all these tools. Okay, so you can say that this one Spark is equivalent to 1,000 tools. One Spark is equivalent to many tools. Okay, that's why the Sparks become very much huge demand in the market. If you know the Spark programming, we can perform a lot of operations on that. We can do machine learning, we can do SQL queries, we can do Hive, everything you can do on the Spark. That is possible. That's why the Spark will give you a many platform for you. So that's why here the Sparks become very famous, and now the people are worrying is crazy about the Spark, and after some time the Sparks is going to capture the market around the globe. Now here you see this diagram. What you understand from this diagram? From this diagram you understand that if you use the Hadoop, because you are using Hadoop MapReduce, right? You are doing operations by using Hadoop. In Hadoop MapReduce operation, it is not going to support iterative operation. I'm taking 10 records, I'm doing iteration. So MapReduce is not good for the iterations. But you can do iteration better when using a Spark. The Sparks will going to support you the iteration only. One thing. Second thing is that the MapReduce is somewhat slower than compared to the Spark, right? And here Spark, the Spark is going to use three important things. It's going to use the call as the main memory. It also going to use the hard disk. The Spark going to use two important components. One is going to call main memory, and second is going to call as the hard disk, right? And here the speed of this Spark is 10 to 100 times greater than Hadoop. Just imagine. It means 10 to 100 times greater than MapReduce. Just imagine how fast Spark is. The speed is around 10 to 100 times much better than the MapReduce. So with respect of speed, Spark is better, you can say. With respect of iteration operation, iterative operation, the Spark is better. Okay, with respect of ease of programming, you can do programming very fastly in a Spark is better than Hadoop's. XSpark can use to store all kind of it to take data from different sources. Okay, so Spark can take data from different sources. One more thing I would like to tell you that this Spark is not a storage device. The Spark has no storage at all. Okay, it will just use for the processing, just like MapReduce. It will take data either from SDFS, it will take data either from Cassandra. It takes data from the take data from the HBase. So it will take data from different source and it will process them. So the Spark is meant only for processing. It is not meant for the storage of data. Keep it in mind. It is only for the processing element. It is processing core. It is processing cluster. It is processing framework which can process all variety of data, and it will produce a better result, fast result for the users. That's what the Spark means for that. So you see this here, it will say about processing speed. The processing speed is how much? It is about 10 to 100 times greater than the MapReduce. Just imagine how fast it is. The processing speed is very much where in case of a Spark compared to the MapReduce operations. Now you see here the next slides. What does it mean here? What to understand from these slides? See, these Sparks really doing great in the market. You cannot imagine the power of a Spark. Because of the Sparks, a lot of tools has been replaced. A lot of tools has been outdated because of the Spark. That much the Spark is getting famous in the world. Now you just imagine that the Hadoop MapReduce, the peoples are migrated from Hadoop MapReduce to the Spark. And what is the reason behind that? Because Spark is having the highest fast processing speed. Because of that, the peoples are opting for the Spark instead of MapReduce. Most companies, okay, what they are doing? They are using both. They are using MapReduce and they are using Spark also. For some of the operations, they use MapReduce, and for some of the processing, they use Sparks. But maybe in futures they are going to use only the Spark for the processing. So now the companies are totally migrating towards the Apache Sparks. Only one reason is that the Apache Spark is very much concerned about the fast processing speed, because it's doing this processing only in main memory. That's why it is called as in-memory processing. That's one reason this is getting replacement. These people are migrating to the Spark. Second, here this Yarn and Mesos, these are called as cluster manager. What means it is going to call as cluster manager, right? See, in Hadoop 2.0, when you download Hadoop 2.0, you are going to get Yarn automatically, because Yarns will be coming under Hadoop 2.0, right? If you download Hadoop 2.0, automatically you are going to get the Yarn. What is Yarn? Yarn is a cluster managers. Yes, it's going to negotiate the resources, it's going to manage the resources, right? How much resources are required for execution, okay? How much containers you require. For that, the Yarn can be used, okay? But here, nowadays, Yarn become very famous. We have one reason to share that Yarn has become very famous is that the Yarn is coming as a package with Hadoop. So if you download the Hadoop, automatically you're going to get Yarn. That's why Yarns become very much famous. So nowadays many technology many companies, they use Yarn along with the Hadoop to have a cluster managers. Mesos is also the cluster managers, but for the Mesos you need to work independently, because it's not going to come with the Hadoop package, right? If you want to use Mesos as a cluster managers, then you have download the Mesos and then you can use Mesos independently. So Mesos is also called as what? It is also be called as the cluster managers. So nowadays oftenly most of the companies, they use Yarn also, and sometimes they use Mesos also for the cluster managers. So there is no any kind of replacement for that. So whether you can use, if you're working with the Hadoop, you can go for Yarn, or if you want to work independently, you can use for the Mesos. Okay, Mesos is also what manager? It is also cluster managers. Next we have Hadoop SDFS. Now one more latest technologies came which is going to replace SDFS, that is going to call as Tachyon. This Tachyon is very faster compared to SDFS. It will read and write data around 200, it will read data 200 times faster than SDFS. Just imagine, it will read data 200 times faster than SDFS. It will write data 300 times faster than SDFS. It means that these Tachyons will provide you a read and write capability at very high speed, 200 times for reading and 300 times for writing compared to SDFS. So nowadays this latest technology is growing up. So maybe after few days, or after, you can say, after few months, this is going to be it is going to be a latest technology, and it's going to replace what SDFS also, because it will give you a high capability of reading and writing operation if you are using Tachyon. The next you see here, these are the tools we are using previously, right? Mahout. Now what is Mahout? Mahout is a tools. Basically it is used for machine learning algorithm, right? If you're using for machine learning algorithm, we can use what kind of tool? You can use what tools? Mahout tools. Now you ask me, what is the problem in Mahout tools? This Mahout tools is basically, it is a MapReduce framework. What reduce framework? It is a MapReduce framework. So if using MapReduce framework, definitely the speed of Mahout is little bit slower than the Spark, because it use what? It use the MapReduce framework. That's one thing. Second thing, you can say that this Mahout can perform only machine learning algorithm, which may be supervised algorithm, which may be unsupervised algorithm. And you know that the machine learning algorithms use iterative process. Every time you have to do lot of iterations, right? First iteration, second iteration, third iteration, n number of iterations you require to get the result of machine learning algorithm, because every time you are going to use in input layers, output layers, you're doing iteration until you're going to get the desired results. So machine learning algorithms use a highly iterative process. It use more number of iterations. So if you use more number of iterations, what happens? The speeds become very slow, right? Already you are using Mahout for the MapReduce frameworks. MapReduce is having the slow speed. And after that, again you are running machine learning algorithm, and machine learning algorithm is also what? It use more iterative process. Again it's reflect the speed because of iteration. So in this case, you can say that the Mahout will give you less performance with respect of iteration. Because of iteration, it will produce less performance. Second, because of MapReduce framework, it will give you less performance. So what happens is that when the Sparks came to market, the Spark has given you special libraries to learn machine learning algorithm, and which is called as MLib. What called as MLib? Called as MLib. This is called as machine learning libraries. Machine learning algorithms will going to process the machine learning algorithms at very high speed rate. Okay, very fast processing going to happens if you are using machine learning lib, MLib. MLib is what? It is library available in Apache Spark. In Apache Spark we have libraries called as what? MLib libraries. So this is faster than compared to Mahout. The Mahout. Now for streaming, for live streaming of data, if you use live streaming, right, immediately I want result, right? I am getting data, and within fraction of a second I want to get result also. That is called as live streaming. And for live streaming, the Hadoops, they use what? They use a Storm. But again, the Storms is also having the low performance compared to the Apache Spark. So now people's using what? The Spark streaming. The Spark streaming came to the market. So it means that the Mahout tools is being replaced by what? Is being replaced by a Spark MLib. Now you see here the Storm tool is what? Is being replaced by a Spark streaming. Similarly we have Hive, right? Already we discussed in 4 chapters about the Hive, right? Now Hive is what? It is also interface for the SQL queries, right? It's going to be a interface of what? About the SQL queries. That is going to call as what? It's going to call as the Hive. Now Hive is also having the slow speed, right, compared to Apache Spark. To make the speed of the processing, this Hive is what? The Hive is being what? Is being replaced by a Spark SQL. So it means nowadays people are not looking for Hive. They are using Apache Spark sequels, because Spark sequels will do the same works, whatever the works is done by Hive also. So it means because of a lot of excellent features of Apache Sparks, because of good features of the Apache Sparks, most of the tools are getting obsolete from the markets, getting diluted from the markets. The reason is that because of the Apache Spark. You see, the Mahout is being replaced by a Spark MLlib. You see, the Hive is being replaced by Spark SQLs. You see here, the Stop is replaced by Spark Streaming. So you see how it is the impact of this Spark. The Spark is having very high impact. Okay, it will replace lot of tools, and it gives you powerful streaming, it gives you powerful fast processing, it gives you high speed of processing, so that you can process data within a fraction of time, and you're going to get the results. So this is what about how the technologies are getting migrated. Now they are migrating from Hadoop to where? Hadoop to the Apache Spark. Now you see about this technology. This is what about the some of the competitions happening about. These are competitions which is happening between this Hadoop and Spark. That is called as 100 terabyte competition, 100 terabyte Daytona sort competition. Okay, this is competition happening. Even you can also participate in these competitions. In these competitions, they are giving some of the file in the forms of terabytes, and they are going to process them, and they are going to see who is processing very fastly. Okay, now see, they have taken Hadoop MapReduce, they are taken Spark also, and they are taken a record. This is the size of the records we have, this is the size of the records we have, this is the size of the records we have. Okay, now you see, what the data size is given, 102.5 terabyte of data size. Okay, how much time it has taken to process by using Hadoop? 72 minutes it has taken to process using Hadoop only. See, what is the size of terabytes is given? 100 terabytes of data is given, and how they are processing? They are processing using how much? Using the Spark, and how much time it took? It took only 23 minutes. It's just a miracle. See how much time it is taking? 72 minutes time, even though it's matter of only 2.5 terabyte difference. But see how fast Spark is. You cannot compare with MapReduce. It's processing the data at very high speed rates. See here, this is Spark. How much petabytes of data they are given? See, 1000 terabytes data they are given, and how much time it takes to process it? Only 234 minutes it took. So what I mean to say from this representation is that by seeing these competitions, we came to one conclusion, that the Spark processing is much higher than the MapReduce, much higher than the Hadoop. Okay, because it has capability of processing data at very high speeds, and to process this one, how much node they use, how much cluster disk they use, everything configuration they have given here. But only one thing we came to know, that there is no other option, no other conclusion, that the Spark is doing very well. It processes the data at very high speed. It is working very well compared to the MapReduce. Okay, you see this one, 1000 terabytes of data. It can process how many minutes? It only takes how many minutes? 234 minutes. So it is not a small figure. It's very big figure, right? And it takes only this much of time to process this much bulk amount of data. That's why the Spark is becoming very famous nowadays everywhere. So every company is looking to migrate to the Spark technologies. That's the reason behind that. Now if you see this, the features of the Spark, okay, we'll discuss about these features of the Sparks one by one. Okay, already we came to know about the Spark versus Hadoop. Okay, so if you see a Spark versus Hadoop, what we understand from this one, the Spark is having higher fast processing capability. It processes the data at very high speed rate. That's called as what? The Spark. It is having high precision compared to Hadoop. One thing we came to know, that the Spark is used for real-time processing. If you want to process data for real time, we are going to use for the Spark. And if you want to process data for the batch processing, you are going for the Hadoop. So if you compare this one in the terms of speed, the Sparks are doing well. The Spark is having higher speed than the Hadoops. Okay. Now coming to polyglot. This is very important features of the Spark. Polyglot. What does the meaning of polyglot? Poly means many. Yes, you can say many glot, many language. It means this Sparks will support many languages. The Spark will support many API you can say. The Spark support, this is Java, it support the Java programming, it support the R programming, which is very advanced. It support Python programming, this is called as Python programming, this symbol represent Python programming, and it support called as Scala, this is going to call as Scala programming, it's going to call as what? It is called as Scala programming. See, the Spark is written in a Scala programming, Scala. What program is going to call as? It is going to call as Scala programming. So the Spark is written in which programming language? It is written in the programming language which is called as Scala programming languages. So it means this Spark will support many languages. It support R programming, it support Python programming, it support Java programming, it support Scala programming, because Scala is very faster compared to other languages. So it will support Scala programming also. And Spark is written only in Scala programming. By default, it is written in which programming? It is written in Scala program. Sometimes if you go for interview, they may ask question for you, what kind of language used to develop a Spark? So you can say Scala is used for development of a Spark. The Scala is programming language, it is used to development of what? Development of Spark only. So you came to know two things, that the Spark is very fine with high processing speed, number one. Number two, it support polyglot. What is polyglot? It support many languages. It support R programming, it support Python programming, it support Java programming, and it support Scala. Obviously it supports Scala because the Sparks are written in Scala programming language also. Now deployment. You can deploy the Spark applications using Yarn. Using Yarn you can deploy the Spark applications. Using Mesos we can deploy the Spark application. So this is called as deployments. You can deploy it using what? Using the different types of cluster managers we have. In Hadoop you have a Yarn cluster managers, and this is called as Mesos. In Mesos is also called as cluster manager. So you can deploy this Spark applications either using Yarn, or you can use the Mesos. Next, powerful caching. Wow, this is very interesting things called as powerful caching. Okay. Powerful caching means what? See, whatever processing we are doing, suppose, let me take example of your previous things. Let me say, suppose you have taken RDD of F1, right? F1 is one RDD. Then you taken number one is one RDD, and you are taking the text file. It means like this you are going, isn't it? So this filter one RDD, what is depends on number one RDD, and number one RDD is what depends on the text file. What is text file given? Previously Bignan text file you are given, right, as per our previous example. Now, so if F1 want to perform some kind of filtering operation, it will must get information from the number, and the numbers will get information from the text. This is what is going to happen. Now my question is that if you want to speed up the processing, what I will do? Because once you are going to process them, all data is going to be erased from the main memory. But I want to speed up the processing, because I can speed up the processing only while executing. While executing, I want to speed up the processing. So I am not going to do anything after execution. After execution, my memory is going to flash out, right? So while executing, my memory should not be flashed out. My memory should try to keep some data so that I can use for other transformation, I can use for other purpose. So what I will do is that I am going to cache this cache. It means I am going to store them into memory by using main memory, or I using hard disk. I can use hard disk main memory for the caching purpose. So whatever means, I am having a transformations on number one. Okay. So here, if I want to process them, I can process them directly from number one. I should not go to again above. So I can get all the transformation from number one, and I can do all of my computations. It means if I catch here, means what happened, whatever transformations I am doing here means I will take the data from here itself. No need to going for the backtracking. No need to go for the backtracking. It means this powerful caching is basically used to speed up the processing. speed of the processing. So that also we will discuss in the later stage how it's going to work in detail about caching. For the caching, you can use either hard disks, or you can use the main memory. So main memory and hard disks used for the caching, and for the caching you have to use functions called cache. Okay, suppose if I want to cache this one, how I'm going to cache the one? I can write number one dot cache. What I'm going to write? Number one and dot cache. If you cache means what? Whatever the operations we have in number one, that can be stored in main memory, or it may be in hard disk, and that can be used for other purpose, other transformations, and from there you can perform the computations. So by using powerful caching, it will use to perform the processing at high speed. So it will speed up your processing by using what? Powerful caching. And for powerful caching, we can use either main memory, or you can use disk. And for that, how to do caching? You have to use RDD. This is number one is called as what? RDD. This is going to call as what? RDD, and I can use cache. Cache means what? Now my data is cached in main memory, or it may be hard disk, and I can use for other purpose while executing the same data. Okay, that is going to call as what? The caching. So this makes the Sparks more famous. Why Sparks become more famous? Because of polyglot. It supports multiple programming, because of speed, because of caching process, and because of deployment. This makes Sparks more famous technologies. Now here already we discussed about the speed. The speed of the Spark is faster than Hadoop, right? Faster than Hadoop, and the reason is that it reduces number of read-write operation. What is read-write operation? Already we discussed, right? That is called as input-output operation, right? Because in MapReduce operation, we are performing a lot of input-output operations. Okay, so Sparks, what it does? It will minimize input-output operation. The Sparks use only one time input-output operation. That's it. Only it when you're going to fire the first RDD, it is just going to load the data from the hard disk to main memory, and from there the processing will take place only in main memory. It means what? The Sparks will always minimize a number of input-output operation that makes Sparks at very high processing speed. That's the reason why the Spark is very high speed compared to the MapReduce. So obviously the speed matters a lot. The speed matters a lot about what? About the Spark. Now here you see this here support multiple languages. Already we discussed that's polyglot. What is polyglot? The Sparks will support multiple languages. It supports Java, it supports R programming, it supports Scala, it supports Python, right? So these four languages will be supported by the Spark. So if you want to write the Sparks with Pythons, you will come and you write the Spark code with Python. If you want to write a Spark code with Java, we are welcome. You write a Spark code with Java. If you know about R programming, we are welcome for analyzing of data. We can write a Spark with R programming. And if you know about Scala is welcome. You can write Scala also. Now here one thing I will ask you: when the Spark released, it released with 3 versions. Okay, call it a Spark 0 versions. It came first. It came which version? It came a Spark 1 version. It came okay. Then it came a Spark 2 version. Now currently which versions you are using? You are using version number 2 only. Version number 2. Previously most of the companies they use 1.6 version of Spark. 1.6 version of Spark. But we have problem in 1.6 version of Spark. If you write the code with Python, the processing will be slow. If you write code with using Python. If you write code using Java, again processing will be slow. But if you write the code with Scala, the processing will be high. Because in 1.6, what problem is that the Python Java program is not optimized. They didn't add any kind of libraries for the optimization. That's why when they're using 1.6 Spark version, they feel that when they're writing the code with Python, the processing speed is decreasing. When they're writing the code with Java, the processing speed is decreasing because they haven't optimized the Pythons and Java libraries in that time. Now, but these problems they resolved. They solved in which one? In Spark 2.36. Spark 2.3.0. Now in this version, this problem has been reduced. If you use Spark 2.3.0, that latest version of the Spark, if you write the Spark with Python, same speed you will get. If you write Spark with Java, you will get the same speed. If you write Spark with Scala, you will get the same speed. There is no other problem for that. So they came across abstraction. They added abstraction layers. With abstraction layers, everybody will have a equal power. If you write a Spark with Python, you will get same speed. If you write a Spark with Java, you get same speed. If you write a Spark with Scala, you are going to get the same speed. Okay, that's why here this is going to be happening 1.6. In 1.6, we have some problem. If writing in Python and Java, speed is getting decreased, but if writing in Scala, speed is okay, it's working fine. But in case of 2.3, this problem is resolved. If you're writing either using Python or R or using Java or Scala, everyone going to get equal distribution of the speeds. Okay, so by using this, what happened here nowadays, the people are switching about what Spark 2.3.0. So this is the latest version of the Sparks they're using. If you want to download the Spark, you're going to get Spark 2.3.0 versions, and that you can use different types of multiple languages. Okay, so what we now understand from this that the Sparks will support a multiple language which is called as polyglot. It can support Python, R programming, and also what it support the Scala. The Scala is the main language used to write the Spark languages. Now you see here, the next is about advanced analytics, of course. Now Sparks also used to perform advanced analytics. So if you want to perform advanced analytics, right, you have to use machine learning algorithm, we have to use artificial intelligence, you have to use different types of tools to perform advanced analytics. And Sparks will give you on tools called what tools? It is going to give you for machine learning algorithms, going to give what tools? MLlib. What tools is going to give you? It's going to give you tools called as what tools? It is going to call as MLlib tools. Okay, so these tools are basically used to perform machine learning algorithms. So if you want to perform advanced analytics, what are you going to have? You are going to have called as what tools? It is going to call as the machine learning or machine learning lib tools be used to perform advanced analytics. Okay, and similarly, if you want to do streaming of data, if you want to perform analysis on streaming of data means what? Live data. We can use Apache Sparks for the streaming of data. So this Apache Sparks is basically used to perform advanced analytics. Okay, by using MLlibs or by using Spark streamings, we can perform a lot of advanced analytics, or even you can use Apache SQL. Okay, Apache Spark SQL. Okay, this is also used for advanced analytics. So as Sparks will give you different libraries. It will give you libraries like MLlib libraries for performing machine learning algorithms. So if you want to perform machine learning algorithms, you have to use MLlib. And if you want to perform Apache Spark SQLs, okay, SQL queries, you have to use Apache Spark SQL queries and to perform the advanced analytics. So one thing we came to know that the Spark is not at all good only for processing. It can also use for advanced analytics by using different Spark libraries such as MLlib. Okay, you can use Apache Spark SQLs. Okay, or also you can use what? You can use defense Spark streaming to perform advanced analytics. Now here the Sparks also built on top of the Hadoop. This is very beauty about this Spark. See, the Spark is very good in processing. We can install the Sparks on the top of the Hadoop to speed up the processing speed of the Hadoop. You can use for that. And here we can do in three important categories. One is a Spark can be used as standalone. You can use it as standalones. So here the Spark is used for the processing, and for storage of data you can use what? You can use SDFS. Okay. Suppose I can use a Spark as a standalone. What does it mean? It means that I am not depending on any other clusters. I can install a Spark on my Windows, and I can use my own local file systems, and from there I can process the data. I can get the results. So for me, no need of cranking to the different cluster managements. I can work standalone. That is one thing. Second thing, I can use a Sparks I can use Spark and I will get data from SDFS, because data will be stored in SDFS. And for processing, what I am doing? For processing, I am using only Spark. So this Spark is used only for processing. If you see this Spark, I am going to use what Spark? Spark is only for the processing. I can use Spark for the processing. And for where I will get data? I will get data from where? I will get data from the Hadoop. So I will get data from the Hadoop only. Got the point? So here this Spark is only meant for the processing, and I am receiving data from the Hadoop. Sparks will get data from the Hadoop, that is Hadoop distributed file system. So here data will be stored in Hadoop distributed file system. The Sparks, what it will do? It will try to access data from the SDFS and it will process them and store result back to the SDFS. That is also possible. Okay, so I am going to install the Spark and I am going to get data from SDFS, I am process them, and then I am going to store result back to the SDFS. So Spark is not for the storage, it's only for the processing, just doing the processing and sending back result back to the SDFS. That is called as what? Stand-alone mode. Then over Yarn, what I am doing here, I am using three important things, right? What I am using here is that to make somewhat more effectively, more effective than stand-alone, I am using Spark for the processing. It's fine, because Spark is used for the processing, everybody know. Yarn, I am going to use a cluster manager. Here what is Yarn? The Yarn is called as cluster manager. What manager? It's called as cluster manager. It's called as a cluster manager, which is called as Yarn, right? Yarn is going to call as a cluster manager. So I am using Yarn here as a cluster manager, because he is the one who is going to manage the resources, who is going to provide me the containers to execute my program, to execute my to do my processing. That is called as Yarn. And we have SDFS. So we have SDFS what? For the storage. So here you are going to store the data. Here I am using for the processing. For processing I am using the Spark. And in between that, what I am going to do? I am going to use the Yarn, who is going to call as the resource negotiator, yet another resource negotiator. They are going to provide resources, they are going to manage the resources, and I can do the processing much more effectively compared to the stand-alone. Okay, so here that's what I am going to use this one. So here I am using Spark for the processing, here I am using Yarn for the cluster managers, I am using what? SDFS for the storage. So if you do for the second, means over Yarn. So Yarn can be as a cluster manager in this case. I am not using Mesos, but I am using Yarn as a cluster manager. So it means I am working on Hadoop environment here. I am working on a Hadoop environment. I am taking the Hadoop and I am using Yarn as a resource manager, and I am using SDFS for SDFS as storage device. And third, we have Sparks in MapReduce here. You see what I am doing here is that I am using two processing unit. I am using one processing I can use using what? Using the Spark. Spark used for the processing, and I am also using what? MapReduce for the processing. You know that the MapReduce is having slow speed compared to the Spark, but I am going to integrate them. Some of the code I can use by using MapReduce, some of the code I can process them using the Spark. So I am going to integrate both the frameworks. I can integrate a Spark, I can integrate MapReduce also. So some of the code I can run using MapReduce, some of the code I can run using the Sparks. And what I am using, I am taking SDFS, because I am going to access data from the SDFS, that is Hadoop distributed file systems. Okay, so this is also better option, because here we are integrating a Spark and Hadoop. So we have three important features where you can build a Spark on the top of the Hadoop. So you can use a Spark only for the processing, you can use SDFS only for the storage. Here you can use a Spark for the processing, you can take Yarn as a resource manager or cluster managers, SDFS as a storage device. You can use a Spark for the processing, MapReduce for the processing, and you can use SDFS for the storage device. So if you see in these three diagram, which is common one? Obviously SDFS is common one, everyone, right? Here also common, this also common. Why it's common here? You may ask question, right? Because I need data for the processing. Without data I cannot process anything. From where I am going to get data? I am going to get data from where? From the SDFS. I am going to get the data and then I am going to process them. That's why here SDFS is common in all these three diagrams.